Christian here. Today we're going to be talking about dreams, visions, words from God, but more importantly, when you have one of those situations where the word or the vision or the dream has been repeated, what is that telling you? What is it that you're supposed to glean from that? Does God just like to stutter, repeat himself? Why does he tell you something repeatedly? It's my experience that if they're done a particular way, it means one thing. If it shows up in another way, it means something else. If you have a dream one night, and let's say, just for the sake of telling a story, let's say that you have a dream that you drink out of this coffee cup, right? And then a month later, you dream that you're drinking out of this coffee cup, only you're at a gas station as opposed to at your desk or whatever, okay? Those are basically the same dream. You're drinking out of a coffee cup, right? But I would look at that dream and not say that that has happened twice. I would say that that's happened twice, but in a different perspective. This would be to me a dream that's showing you you're not understanding the interpretation of the dream the first time around, and therefore you've been given it again. And you will likely continue to see this dream or a version of this dream until you understand the actual interpretation that he's trying to give you, the actual meaning of the message, okay? There's another type of dream you might see where, let's say in one night, you see yourself drinking from a coffee cup, and then in the same dream you pick up and you take note, again, you're drinking from the coffee cup. You know, that is a situation where you're seeing something repeated, and it's important. It's telling you something about the dream, okay? You might also see a situation where you're drinking from an orange coffee cup, and then the next thing you know, you're doing something else and you're drinking from a a plastic cup that says something on it or whatever. It's a different type of cup, but you see yourself drinking from it. They can be the same thing even though they're kind of different. Like if you remember the story of Joseph and Pharaoh in Genesis chapter 41, verse 32, Pharaoh's dreams have been revealed to him by God to give him a message. And Joseph tells him, this thing's been revealed to you and it's shown twice, even though they're different dreams. The general meaning is the same. So he's telling you they don't have to be identical. They don't have to keep seeing the exact same thing. It's nice when you do. If you see the exact same thing repeated in one short time period right next to each other, then you would say, okay, this thing is both established by God and soon to come to pass. That's what something doubled in a short time period means. Whenever you see something, God's telling you something twice, it's meaning that this part he's telling you right there is both established and will happen soon. So it's important to take note of that. It's also important to note that when God says something's going to happen soon, it's not soon by my standards or by your standards. It's God's soon, right? So it could be 10 minutes from now. It could be 10 years from now. So don't add time to something just because you know it's coming soon. Don't do that. Let me give you an example of a situation that I was in where the first time I ever saw something like this, where something was doubled. Many years ago, I was talking to an individual about one of the words that God had given me. He told me about the lottery, and I told this individual. That individual got a good laugh out of the experience, and so I just went my way. As I was going, the Lord told me a word to go bring to that individual. So the next day, I think it was, I went and I told this individual the word that God had given me for that person. And the word, if I remember correctly, was, you will see it come to pass, then you will know there's one true God. If you do not turn to me with your whole heart, I will take everything that you own. If you do not turn to me with your whole heart, I will take everything that you own. Now, at the moment that I gave the man this message, I knew that God had repeated that second part twice. I didn't know why, but I knew he had done it. And as a prophet, you know you're not supposed to add to or take away from the word of God. So what God gives you, you deliver. So even though I didn't understand why a thing had been said twice, I said it twice to the man just because that's the rules, right? Well, years later, I would learn the reason that something is said twice. Now listen carefully to what was said. You will see it come to pass, then you will know there's one true God. That's the first part. If you do not turn to me with your whole heart, I'll take everything that you own. If you do not turn to me with your whole heart, I'll take everything that you own. That was the second part. Now, but because this part was repeated, and you know that when something's repeated like that, that it means it is both established and soon to come, that part would actually come before this other part, okay? For those of you who might be wondering, that individual that I spoke that word from God to is now, today, serving a 20-year prison sentence. So we know that part has come to pass.